Want to feel unstoppable in just 20 minutes? Well, meet the Nappuccino, the caffeine nap that delivers a double punch to crush that post-lunch slump. It might sound ironic to pair caffeine with sleep. After all, most of us know that caffeine interferes with our sleep. Yet when timed just right, they are a powerful duo. We've all hit that afternoon wall. Tired, foggy, reaching for another cup of coffee or a quick nap. But what if I told you that recent studies show that caffeine naps outperform caffeine or napping alone? The caffeine nap is a twist on what I call the genius nap, the perfect 20 to 30 minute nap designed for creativity and problem solving. It's my go-to solution for an afternoon pick-me-up that puts me back on my feet fast. So here's what I'll cover in this video: why caffeine naps work and the science behind it, how to time and take the perfect caffeine nap, mistakes people make and how to avoid them for maximum benefit. As a sleep expert who spent years studying how to maximize alertness and energy, I've tested countless techniques for beating fatigue, and I'm excited to make it work for you. You might be wondering, well, how does drinking coffee before a nap actually work? Won't it just make me wired? And the answer lies in how caffeine interacts with adenosine, a naturally occurring chemical that builds up in your brain the longer you're awake. Here's what happens step by step. You may have heard of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, and this is what I call the body's energy currency. It's what your body uses to power up pretty much everything you do: thinking, walking, talking, even breathing. As you go about your day using the fuel, it leaves behind a byproduct called adenosine. Kind of like how your car uses fuel and leaves behind exhaust. And the more energy you use, the more adenosine builds up in your brain. And that build-up is what makes you feel tired. Cue the mid-afternoon slump, heavy eyelids, fuzzy thinking, and that strong pull towards another cup of coffee or a nap. So the adenosine keeps building up throughout the day. When we fall asleep, it starts to clear out. So by the morning, we wake up feeling refreshed. But when you don't get a good night's sleep, not all the adenosine is cleared out. That leftover build-up is what makes you feel groggy or sluggish the next day, especially in the afternoon. A nap, which is a form of sleep, helps your body naturally clear out some of that adenosine. So when you wake up from your nap, you're not feeling so tired. So where does the coffee come in? Well, when you drink coffee, caffeine does a number of really cool things. Caffeine increases dopamine and norepinephrine, boosting mood and focus. It also stimulates your central nervous system, which can increase the release of adrenaline and cortisol. But here's the big one: caffeine blocks adenosine, that chemical that we spoke about earlier that's been building up in your brain the longer and longer you're awake, making you feel sleepy. Well, adenosine normally binds to sleep receptors in your brain to slow things down and signal it's time for a rest. But caffeine swoops in and takes adenosine's spot on those receptors, preventing the drowsy signal from getting through. Ever tried to park your car and someone sneaks in ahead of you? Well, it's a bit like that. I know what you're thinking. How am I supposed to be sleeping with all of this going on in my brain? Well, here's the catch. Caffeine doesn't work instantly. It takes about 20 minutes to kick in, with peak levels around about 30 minutes. And that's exactly why combining caffeine with a short 20-minute nap is a game changer. Let's have a closer look at where this magic is happening. You nap, and that clears some adenosine from your brain, making you feel a little bit less sleepy. As you wake up after 20 minutes, the caffeine is reaching full effect. And with less adenosine around for caffeine to compete with, it can park in those sleep receptors uninterrupted. So you wake up feeling sharper, more focused, ready to power through the rest of your day, and without that groggy post-nap feeling. The bottom line is, a nap alone will naturally reduce your sleepiness. But pair a nap with a shot of coffee, you've got a double whammy cocktail to fight fatigue. Studies show that people who took a 15-minute nap with caffeine made fewer errors in driving simulations compared to those who only napped or those who only drank caffeine. And the caffeine nap group consistently reported feeling more alert. So while the caffeine nap can be incredibly effective, individual responses can vary depending on caffeine sensitivity, overall health, and your daily rhythm. So if you have a medical condition, or you're very sensitive to caffeine, or you have a sleep disorder, you should go and consult your medical professional before considering a caffeine nap. The magic of a caffeine nap is all about the timing. Do it right and you'll feel refreshed and you won't have any grogginess. Step 1, grab a coffee or a caffeinated drink, around 100 to 200 milligrams of caffeine. Drink it fairly quickly because sipping it slowly wastes that precious napping time. And a pro tip is to try an espresso for your caffeine nap because they're much quicker to drink. Step 2, after drinking your coffee, find a quiet place to lie down and set a timer for about 20 to 30 minutes. And remember, the timing is key to getting that double whammy effect. Step 3, pop in your earplugs, put on your eye mask and relax. And try deep breathing or mindfulness exercises to help you doze off. Even if you don't fully drift off to sleep, resting with your eyes closed has some benefits. Plus, caffeine is working behind the scenes, preparing for its grand entrance. And practice makes perfect. Whilst you may not fall asleep that first or second time that you try a caffeine nap, it will become easier. And step 4, wake up when the alarm goes off and let the caffeine do its magic. When that alarm goes off, you will have cleared some adenosine from your brain and caffeine will be peaking. More alertness, sharper focus, better mood, and no grogginess. And importantly, stretch, hydrate, and get moving. And a pro tip, splash your face with cold water and get outside with some natural bright light. So I wanted to share some common mistakes, and these are things that I've done, not just once or twice, but many times. So take it from me, don't do these things. The first one is napping too late in the day, and that goes for any nap, not just a caffeine nap, because caffeine lingers quite a while in your blood system. So avoid caffeine and caffeine naps at least 6 hours before you're intending to go to bed. And I really recommend leaving even longer because caffeine has on average a 6-hour half-life, which means that after 6 hours of drinking a coffee, you're going to have still half that caffeine in your blood system. Another 6 hours and you'll have a quarter of that caffeine. So you can see how it takes quite a long time to shed off that caffeine. So the best window is early to mid-afternoon for a caffeine nap. Probably right when that post-lunch slump starts to hit. The next common mistake is napping for too long. This is probably the number one mistake. People forget to set an alarm, and when we sleep for longer than 20 or 30 minutes, it's fine, but you've got to be prepared for a lot more of that sleep inertia. So you're going to feel really groggy for a lot longer, so you're going to need a bigger runway to get back up to speed. The other reason with napping too late in the day and also napping for too long is that you're not going to have enough adenosine building back up in your brain to be able to help you to fall back to sleep that night. We need a certain amount of adenosine to get that sleepy signal and help us to fall asleep quickly. So if we're napping too late or if we're napping for too long, we're washing too much of that adenosine off. And it's like snacking before a meal. I never do that. And the next common mistake is the amount of caffeine, drinking too little or too much. And the amount of caffeine in a coffee appears to impact the effectiveness of the caffeine nap. And the caffeine content of coffee varies considerably. Most research suggests that 200 milligrams is the perfect amount to feel energized and alert when you wake up. However, everyone responds differently to caffeine, with some people being more sensitive to caffeine than others. So trial and test it and see what works for you. And an important note, for any women who are on the contraceptive pill, you may find that you're a little bit more sensitive to caffeine, and that's because the contraceptive pill slows the ability of the liver to break down caffeine. And the final mistake is drinking that caffeine or that cup of coffee too slow before you nap. You need to drink it quickly to give yourself a good window of time to get that nap in before the caffeine kicks in and hits its peak. And if you find it difficult to drink a hot coffee, perhaps try a cold brew. So the caffeine nap has been a game changer for me. It's simple, effective, and it's science-backed. I've tried napping on its own, and I still do, because I don't like to drink caffeine too late in the day. I'm one of those people who are a little bit more sensitive to caffeine. So for me, I won't have a shot of coffee after 2 o'clock, and if I do, it's going to be a decaf. And just a note, decaf coffee doesn't taste so bad these days. So whether you're grinding through work, prepping, or on a long drive, or just need to beat the afternoon slump, this technique of the caffeine nap can make all the difference to your afternoon. Let me know in the comments if you try the caffeine nap and how it goes for you. And if you want to learn some more techniques, have a look at the other videos in my series on napping. And don't forget to like or subscribe or even share this video with a friend or colleague who you know is hitting that mid-afternoon slump. Thanks for watching.